Hello and welcome to the Back Nine Report. My name is Carlos Torres, and along with Phil Altvater, we check in on the world of golf to bring you the latest news, insights, analysis, interviews, recaps, previews. Hey, we cover anything and everything golf. In other words, if it happened in golf, we have it for you. Fred, hi, how are you today?
Carlos, I'm really fantastic. It was a beautiful day here in Cadillac. Spring has finally arrived. Yesterday was a nice day, but today it's 77 degrees. The sun is shining. It's what spring is supposed to be. The daffodils are coming up. Spring is finally getting to Cadillac, Michigan. So maybe there's hope for summer to get here. We're all good here. But listen, there's been so much going on in golf. We had Max Homa win again last weekend, get his second win. So, he's beginning to look like a player. It was a struggle though. Keegan Bradley didn't fare so well down the stretch there. They went back and forth all day. It was an ugly win, but he won. And we're still got this LIV, Greg Norman, Phil Mickelson, all this stuff still brewing and churning. What is going on with all this stuff?
LIV and the Premier Golf League and Greg Norman has been like a staple for us like almost every week. And it's not going away. It's really not going to go away. And especially, we were talking about Greg Norman, throwing stones at Phil Mickelson, sort of, because, if Phil wouldn't have said what he said, we would have had all these players here. So Phil Mickelson making news about, hey, I want to play the US Open and also a PGA Championship. Of course, he's the defending champion. But hey, I'm keeping my options open. So I am also asking for the release to play on the inaugural LIV tournament, which we still don't know who's going there. At least we know that Phil is asking for that. We know that maybe Lee Westwood, some other players from the European Tour, but he's making news because the return for him is still a lingering story here in the world of golf, and with still being unclear of when he will make a comeback to competitive action. So we just learned this week that the CEO of PGA America, Seth Waugh, he revealed he's had and I'm going to quote him, a number of conversations with Lefty, with the American stating that on the Five Clubs Conversation podcast, and I quote, he says, I've had a number of conversations with him before, call it last fall and since then and recently. So that's a big, amount of time, right? But that's what he said, that's when he did it. So currently, like I mentioned, Lefty has entered himself into the PGA Championship, which is the defending champ, as well as the US Open. Mickelson, though, has also requested, like I mentioned, a release from the PGA Tour to play in the opening LIV Golf Invitational Series event. But according to Waugh, he believes that Mickelson is trying to figure out when the right time is for him. And he said, I think the game is trying to figure out the right time for him too. So everybody's trying to figure out, right? But how long is long enough, right? And is he ready mentally? Is he ready physically to do it? And although Mickelson has registered for the events, doesn't necessarily mean he will play in them. His agent, we talked about it, Steve Loy, says, like I mentioned before, he's keeping all his options open. So, Fred, the interesting thing is what we have talked about him the first time that he comes in. Okay, so what's going to happen when the media is going to talk to him, right? Because that's what really is going to happen.
I would love to be there. I would love to be there in that. That'll be a packed house. That interview will be something to see.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be ever a question about him. How are you playing, Phil? I mean, how's your game after all this time?
How do you like the course?
How do you think about defending?
Yeah.
No, there's nothing is going to come about that at all. everything will be like, okay, Phil, so what you said before, why didn't you play the Masters? And how about the LIV? Was it true what you're saying? Do you still mean it? I mean, so many questions that are going to be tried to be answered.
And then throw in this new book that's coming out that talks about his gambling debts and all this stuff. And I've had a couple people text me, a couple friends say, well, what do you think about this Phil, $30-40 million in gambling? I don't think anything about it. That's just normal business for Phil. Just go back, 20 years, 15 years when he switched to Callaway clubs right before the Ryder Cup, played like crap because Eli Callaway paid off his gambling debts back then that he couldn't afford. And he signed with Callaway. So this is nothing new. We've had the Billy Walters thing with the stock manipulation and the SEC and the FBI grabbing him off the green at the 18th hole at the Muirfield Village. So this is nothing new with Phil. The true Phil is now coming to light, and everybody, oh, I love Phil. Hey, okay, so his public persona is really good. He's really good when he's in front of the cameras. But this is the true Phil that we're seeing. The guy is reckless. He's careless. He does all these things. So you can see a pattern. This is not a one-off, okay? There's a pattern of activity over the last 20 years. So it's nothing new for Phil Mickelson. This is the way the guy is. But Carlos, this LIV thing that you're talking about, the waters just continue to spin, to boil, to churn. We're talking about Lee Westwood and Ian Poulter and some of these other guys going over to the LIV, and they say they've got, Greg Norman says he's got 200 guys already signed up for 48 spots. So he's going to take the best 48 out of that. He said there's some guys from the United States coming. And then, then we hear this little deal. Sergio goes, I can't wait to get off this tour. That's your boy. What's the story with that?
I heard that, and first thing that comes to mind, and let's put it into context when it happened. He was making the turn with a 1 under 34 in his opening round in the Wells Fargo. And he blew his tee shot way left on the 10th fairway into a hazard. After several minutes of searching, he finally found his ball. However, here's the thing: for the rules official said he took too long. Sergio, you took too long. You did. I mean, the official said he started the timer once he arrived at the general location of where the ball was, while Sergio was saying, no, wait. You should have started when I crossed the river, as I knew where my ball was on the other side. And I was just looking for a way to cross. You have to count that. I can't be doing this. Despite that persistence, Garcia was forced to take a drop. And then he waved his hand in disgust, and he said under his breath, I can't wait to live this tour. So, and then he continued. It wasn't it. He went there and he said, can't wait to get out of here. Just a couple more weeks until I don't have to deal with you anymore. And of course, now,
they're not going to have rules officials on the LIV tournaments.
So yeah, that's the question. And so Sergio, you're my guy, and I defend you all the time. But here, man, you're out of line. So you mean to tell me you're going to go to LIV or wherever you want to go, and you're not going to have any rulings come to you? So this is going to be very different from now on. I mean, everybody's going to take their time. It's going to be like you are saying it's going to be. Right now, it's not going to happen. So, Sergio, I'm so sorry, man, but I can't be with you on this one.
Well, I have to, in fairness to Sergio, the PGA Tour did rule that the official started the clock too soon. He should have waited and started it, so that Sergio did get a measure of satisfaction from that, although it didn't help his scorecard any, because he had to play a lost ball and go back and re-tee. But the PGA Tour did rule in Sergio's favor on that, but he didn't get anything out of it. But him muttering under his breath that he's leaving, that makes it pretty, that pretty concrete where we know where he's going to go, right? And so, Carlos, that's exactly what we've been talking about. is some of these leading Europeans, they're not really excited about living in America. They're not really excited about playing on the PGA Tour. So if they can go live back in their home country and only play 8 or 10 or 12 events a year instead of 25 or 30 and still make as much money or more, and it's guaranteed, what a deal. Of course they're going to jump at that. And it makes sense for those European guys, especially the little bit older European guys who can't cut it on the PGA Tour anymore. And you look up and down the leaderboards now, they're young guys. These are young guys. They're, 30 or a little bit under 30, 22, 23, 25, 28-year-old guys. The courses are tough. They're hitting the ball longer. They're swinging harder. It's a young man's game. Occasionally you get a Phil Mickelson or somebody pop up and win that's got a little age on. Look at Jason Day. He ran out of gas this week. He was playing pretty well. I think he just ran out of gas. He hasn't been in that situation, and he kind of faded on the weekend a little bit. So getting back to the LIV thing, Carlos, it's what we've been saying all along. Guaranteed money, fewer events, travel the rest of the world. They don't have to be in America, which I don't know. America's not too bad of a place to be. I don't think it is. But evidently these other guys, these Europeans, think there's a lot of other better places. So I see their point. I see what they're doing. I just don't see many American players jumping over to it. And to get back to Phil, to kind of wrap that up, Phil has created such a massive hole for himself. And as you said, I would love to be in that press conference. And if they're going to stream that live, I'm going to be on that, actually. I'm going to watch for that whenever he decides to play. Colonial would have been a good place for him to tee it up, but I mean, he might still be on suspension. He might be suspended and we don't know it. That's the reason he's not playing. He's saying, well, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. No, but he could be under suspension. We didn't know Dustin Johnson was what was going on, and he was under suspension, and we're sure of it. We don't know it for fact, but it's pretty obvious that he was back in the day, plus a couple other guys when they took some time off. So pretty sure that Phil was under suspension. We don't know when that ends, so that will come when he'll come back. We're pretty sure, I would imagine, that he's going to defend his PGA championship. He has applied to enter. He's entered the field. So we're pretty sure. Will he play an event or two before that? Well, he's going to have to do it pretty quick. And I would have thought Colonial would have been a good place for him to come because he's had some success there in the past. So, Carlos, it's a mishmash. It's a mix-up deal. We've been talking about it now for nearly 2 years. I feel like we're getting closer to some closure on it, but we're not there yet. A lot of speculation, a lot of stuff up in the air. We get little glimpses of stuff, like when Sergio says what he did. That gives us an idea of an inkling of what's going to be happening. So, and Greg's in the background going, "Oh, I got these guys. We got these fields full. We got money to give out. Guys are going to come." And, we've always said, if you pay them, they will come. That's the PGA Tour. That's the PGA, the pro. That, they're all about the money and getting that money. So, Carlos, I don't know what else to tell you other than those kind of things.
No, and I agree. I mean, we are about to find out pretty soon, because right now it's May 9th, and it's just 1 month away that first tournament for the LIV is going to take place. We know now Sergio's there. He said just a couple more weeks and I'm out. So now the question for all these players is, especially the European older players, is, are you willing to give up the possibility of becoming a Ryder Cup captain by just going there? Because it's not only the money. If you're going to go leave the PGA Tour, that's perfectly fine. You're going to earn a lot more money where you're going, and you're not going to earn any of that money on the PGA Tour. I can understand that. PGA Tour, European Tour, I'm not going to pay you that, because, I mean, you might make it if you're good enough, but you're not doing it. So that's why all of these players are looking forward to see how they can make up that money. But for Sergio, the winningest singles player in history of the Ryder Cup, and one of the players that has been widely touted as a future Ryder Cup captain, you are going to leave that on the line. That's not going to happen anymore. That's my only question to him. Is he really, really ready to do that? We'll see. Right. There's other players, Lee Westwood, Ian Poulter. Ryder Cup stalwarts that are going to be out, not to play because I don't think they'll ever play again on the Ryder Cup, but out as future captains. That's the only question there, Fred. But anyway, we're about to find out pretty soon what's going to happen. And one final thing to close, Fred.
Yeah, I'm just a little disappointed in a lot of these guys. I know the money is the deal for these guys, but where is the loyalty? These guys came up through Europe. They came up through the European tour. They got good enough so they could come to America and play on the PGA Tour, made millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they're ready to just jump away and go and say, oh, this is so bad. And it's made them all wealthy. I just, where's a little bit of loyalty to this tour that's made them all rich? That's the only question I have, Carlos.
Well, I have to answer a little bit of that. I don't think it's a question of the loyalty because they've been loyal for years already to the tour. You know, they played there, but I think their prime is already gone. They're not gonna be able, if you get the opportunity, you're an independent contractor. You are trying to get your money for you, for your family. And right now they're going to have that opportunity on the LIV that it's offering them the opportunity to win money again. They're not going to do it on the PGA Tour. So look, I have to go and get my money where I can do it. PGA Tour is not providing it for me. There's no way I can do it competitively. So I don't think it's about loyalty. It's about like, hey, I gotta go see what's best for me and my family at this time. So that's the only issue that the only issue I have is one that you mentioned is don't start saying, you know, this is so bad. I can't wait to get out of this despectively, because like you mentioned, they feed you for 20 years already or more, and you made your money right there. You know, and you have a legacy that you're leaving behind. Just go out and say, you know, guys, I made my money there. I really am not that competitive anymore. I would like to, but I can't. So I'm just going to go now and help this tour. I think that they're going to have a good future.
I could accept that. I could live with that, and I understand that completely. But for a guy like Sergio, who's still a little bit in his, you know, he's a little bit past his prime, but he's still pretty competitive. He can play a little bit, right? To just kind of basically badmouth everything and, you know, be petulant and act like a spoiled child, that I just don't get it.
That's always been Sergio. There's no change. So anyway, thank you for joining us. It's always our pleasure to bring you the latest in the world of golf news and information. And as long as we have any more news, we're gonna bring it to you. So please subscribe to our channel. The link is right down there in the description. So thank you for joining us.